let's not forget that just last week, the Biden administration had expected to be announcing a 3-week ceasefire agreement. And so diplomacy has been frantic between the sides. I think what's really missing has been the will, frankly, to come to a peace agreement. And that tells us a lot about conflict and the strategic calculus that's involved.
Yeah, and what does that say then about that diplomacy? Is there even the urgency, the need, the desire to even get that done now? Because it feels as though we've reached a point now where it's just a case of what can each party just do to ramp things up higher, and they'll take it from there. It feels as though all the other diplomats in the story that have tried to de-escalate things, not successful.
I mean, it can be really, I'm certainly not justifying the impetus for conflict, but I think it's important to understand how combatants regard windows of opportunity. We wrote about this over the summer. We called it a danger zone summer, because for the Israelis, with the U.S. preoccupied with elections in 30 days' time, and what has been the support of the Biden administration for Israel, Israel sees an opportunity to degrade the capacity of its adversary. And that's exactly what it's been doing via the decapitation operation with the Hamas leadership, and frankly, taking it as far as it thinks it can go without triggering a full-blown Iran versus Israel state-to-state conflict.
Yeah, but I mean, that still feels like a big risk, though, that we, not just Iran, but really a wider regional conflict here. How big a risk is that then of growing and developing?
Well, it's a material risk, and we've been warning about that all year. I've been saying that market participants were overly sanguine. The fact that oil supplies weren't regarded as being at risk has been behind just how relaxed financial markets have been about this conflict. But it was always heading toward an escalation because neither side was really sincere about coming to the negotiating table and making the sacrifices that are required to come to an agreement. That's what brings us to where we are today. But the big one, in market terms and in geopolitical terms, would be an Israeli attack on Iran's energy infrastructure. That's what was initially behind oil prices spiking last week, or much more significant, an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities, because that would be a major operation.
Yeah. Tina, French President Emmanuel Macron calling to end arms exports then to Israel. You think his voice will be heard at all here?
I think his point is being welcomed by many in the Arab world, but I don't see the U.S. following suit by any stretch of the imagination. I think furthermore, what Israel is most likely hoping for, and remember that Prime Minister Netanyahu has seen his popularity soar on the back of these recent attacks, very audacious in nature. Israel will be hoping for a return of the Trump administration, where they expect to see even more support from the U.S. White House.